You were always the failure, Emily. Look at you ruining your own wedding day with this pathetic, cheap circus. You couldn't even afford a real venue. My mother's venomous voice sliced through the elegant beachfront pavilion. The romantic acoustic music cut out instantly. 80 guests, including my new husband's family, our closest friends and local business owners, froze, turning their heads in utter disbelief. My mother, Eleanor Vance, stood in the center aisle, her face twisted in a sneer. Right next to her was my older brother, Tyler, who was snickering, holding a glass of high-end champagne that I had paid for. "Mom, stop, please," I whispered, my voice trembling under my white lace veil. I gripped my husband David's hand tight. "This is our wedding day. We wanted a small, beautiful ceremony by the ocean." "Because you're broke," Eleanor shouted, ensuring every single guest could hear her. "You spent your whole life hiding in the dark, doing who knows what in the Navy while Tyler actually built a real estate empire. You show up back in town, marry a regular high school teacher, and throw this low-class party. You're an absolute embarrassment to my name. Get out of your own reception, Emily, before I tell everyone what a loser you truly are." The crowd erupted into shocked whispers. Did she really call her own daughter a failure at her wedding? Is Tyler really the only successful one? Poor Eleanor having to deal with this. Tyler stepped forward, tossing his car keys onto our head table. "Face it, Emily. You've always been a charity case. Go back to your ships. Real adults are trying to celebrate here." My heart felt like it was physically being crushed. The emotional pain was suffocating. I looked at my mother, looking for any sign of love, but saw only cold disgust. Tears pricked my eyes, but years of military discipline forced my posture straight. David pulled me away into the bridal suite, trying to shield me from the burning stares of 80 guests. But my family wasn't done. As soon as the door closed, my phone vibrated brutally. It was a text from Tyler. "By the way, failure, Mom just transferred the title of grandfather's coastal estate entirely to my name. Your childhood home belongs to me now. Don't ever show up there again. Enjoy your cheap beach shack." My breath hitched. Before I could even reply, a second notification flashed on my screen. It was an alert from my primary credit card company. "Alert! Your Platinum Military Rewards card has been frozen due to a reported fraudulent charge of $45,000 made at Vance Real Estate Group." My jaw dropped. Tyler had used our shared emergency authorization card to completely drain my credit line to fund his own business expenses, right as they were kicking me out of my own family history. They thought I was a nobody. They genuinely believed I was just a low-level sailor scrubbing decks overseas. They had no idea that I was a decorated Navy lieutenant commander, working deep within advanced naval logistics and fleet intelligence. But their financial blindness was even worse. They called me a failure. They didn't know that Tyler's real estate empire was completely hollow. 2 years ago, Tyler had illegally embezzled funds from his clients, and the family firm was facing massive criminal fraud charges and immediate bankruptcy. My mother had called me, sobbing hysterically on the phone, begging me to save them. "Emily, please. If Tyler goes to jail, our family name is ruined. You have to give us your savings." Because I loved them, I did. I didn't just give them a loan. I used my entire deployment hazard pay, my specialized combat bonuses, and my portion of our grandfather's trust to secretly buy out the company's toxic debts. I became the silent, primary owner of Vance Real Estate Group to protect my brother's freedom. My mother knew everything, but she begged me to keep it a secret from Tyler so it wouldn't ruin his confidence. And this was my reward. They stole my grandfather's house, drained my card, and called me a loser at my own wedding. Suddenly my phone buzzed again. It was a link from a local Facebook group. My mother had just posted a picture of the empty wedding arch with the caption, "So sad that my daughter Emily chose to ruin her own wedding by screaming at her family and stealing corporate funds from her hardworking brother. We have officially disowned her. Beware of her lies." The local community was already commenting, tearing my reputation to shreds. That was the exact moment something inside me flipped. The tears stopped. The heartbreak hardened into pure, unyielding military steel. They wanted to wage a war against a Navy officer? They were about to face a battleship. I looked out the window of the suite. Down by the parking lot, I noticed a sleek, black government SUV with tinted windows. It had been sitting there since the ceremony started. A sharp, uniformed driver was standing next to it, looking directly toward my room. Someone high-level was watching me. I didn't know who sent them yet, but it didn't matter. It was time to activate my counter-strategy. I dialed my military legal advocate. Marcus. They just froze my card and forged the deed to the coastal estate. Execute the default clause. Shut down the entire firm. Now. Understood, Commander. Marcus replied smoothly. We are moving in. 10 minutes later, I walked back out into the reception pavilion. I had taken off my veil. I was standing tall, my chin up. The moment Eleanor saw me, she slammed her wine glass down on a table. Are you deaf, Emily? I told you to get out. You are a disgrace to this family, and you are no longer welcome here. Tyler walked up, crossing his arms, a smug grin plastered on his face. Look at her, still trying to play the victim. Hey David, hope you like living in a tent, because your new wife doesn't have a penny to her name. The 80 guests watched in tense silence, waiting for me to break. I'm not leaving, Mom, I said, my voice echoing clearly over the sound of the ocean waves. But Tyler, you might want to call your lawyers. If they haven't already abandoned you. What did you say, you pathetic little? Tyler started, stepping toward me. Stand down, son. A booming, thunderous voice roared from the entrance of the pavilion. Everyone spun around. Walking into the pavilion was the man from the black SUV. He was wearing an immaculate, crisp white U.S. Navy dress uniform. On his shoulders gleamed the thick gold stripes and silver eagle of a Navy captain. It was Captain Christopher Miller, the Chief of Naval Intelligence Operations for the entire eastern seaboard, and my direct superior officer. The 80 guests instantly gasped. Local politicians and business owners in the crowd immediately recognized his face from the news. The sheer aura of authority he held took the breath out of the entire room. My mother's face went completely pale. She stumbled over her words, trying to instantly change her tone. Captain Miller. Sir, what a surprising honor. We didn't know the Navy was visiting our local beach. Captain Miller completely ignored her. He marched directly past Eleanor, stopped exactly 2 feet in front of me, and brought his hand up to his brow in a razor-sharp, flawless salute. Lieutenant Commander Vance, Captain Miller announced loudly, his voice filling every corner of the pavilion. On behalf of the United States Navy and the Pentagon, I want to personally congratulate you on your marriage, and thank you for your extraordinary service. The intelligence logistics network you built overseas saved millions in defense assets this year. The entire crowd erupted into shocked gasps. Lieutenant Commander? She's a high-ranking intelligence officer? Oh my God, they called her a failure. My mother choked on her breath, looking at me like she was seeing a ghost. Commander? Emily, you're a commander? And that's not all, Mrs. Vance. My legal advocate, Marcus, walked in right behind the captain, carrying a thick leather briefcase. He opened it and pulled out a stack of stamped federal documents, handing them directly to Tyler's primary business investors who were sitting at the front table. 2 years ago, Vance Real Estate Group was completely bankrupt due to Tyler's criminal embezzlement, Marcus stated boldly to the entire room. The anonymous savior, who bought out the company's debt and legally took 51% control of the firm, was not a bank. It was Emily. She used her combat pay and intelligence bonuses to keep her brother out of federal prison. Tyler's eyes went wide. He looked at our mother, his voice cracking. Mom, what is he talking about? You told me I saved the company. Eleanor couldn't even speak. She was shaking violently, clutching her chest. Furthermore, Marcus continued, turning directly to Tyler, your attempt to fraudulently transfer the deed of the grandfather's coastal estate, and your unauthorized $45,000 charge on Commander Vance's military card this afternoon, have automatically triggered the immediate liquidation clause of the contract. As of 5 minutes ago, Vance Real Estate Group is officially closed. Federal assets are freezing your properties as we speak. No. No, this can't be happening. Tyler screamed, dropping his glass, his face turning bright red with pure humiliation. Emily, you can't do this. I'll lose everything. My reputation will be ruined. I stepped forward, looking my mother and my brother dead in their eyes. The agonizing pain they had caused me for years was completely gone. In its place was an unshakable, beautiful sense of self-respect. You called me a failure, Mom, I said, my voice icy calm and incredibly powerful. You told 80 people that I was an embarrassment to your name. You wanted me gone. I paused, letting the heavy, humiliating silence crush them in front of all their friends. The truth is, I owned your lifestyle. I owned your company. And as of right now, I am cutting off every single dime. You can pack your things and leave my grandfather's house by tomorrow morning. Tyler slumped into a chair, burying his face in his hands, weeping openly as his fake empire collapsed in front of the entire town. My mother fell to her knees, begging the investors for help, but they turned their backs on her, disgusted by her cruelty to her own daughter. The 80 guests didn't offer a single word of comfort. They began leaving the pavilion in a hurry, gossiping loudly about the massive downfall of the Vance family. Captain Miller looked at me with a proud smile. Excellent discipline, Commander. Your husband David looks like a fine man. Enjoy your wedding night. You've earned your peace. Thank you, sir, I said, offering a final salute as he walked back to his vehicle. I looked back at my weeping mother and ruined brother one last time, but I didn't feel anger anymore. I just felt completely free. I had spent my entire life trying to buy the love of a toxic family, by sacrificing my own happiness. But standing there next to my husband, I finally understood the ultimate lesson. True worth isn't given by selfish people, and you can't save a family that is rotten to the core. Real honor is knowing when to stand your ground. Protect your own life, and let karma take care of the rest.